These are some of the Dark Age landmarks of Hawling in Gloucestershire. Be them hevden to them heathen and burialsa, with Hairlinga welen. Swa erst over thar Sealt Stræt to them Crundalen. Of them Crundalen be them hevden, to thas Bernes end. That's Winchcombe down there, which used to have its own county, its own shire at one point. And there's a saint buried over. Maybe there isn't. There's a well of a dead saint over there. And this along here is a medieval park. Can you imagine hunting in that sort of steepness? That's certainly if you're hunting on foot. But I don't know what the name of this valley is, but the river Beesmore runs through it, which is probably the I do have an old name for it. It's dull as dishwater. The modern name is much more interesting. It is it's probably the moor of the bees. I was so sure there wasn't an old document for Beesmore, I went ahead and guessed, and the guess was wildly wrong, because a 12th century document came up that showed that it is Babel's Moor, Babeles Moor. That is the wetland that belonged to Babel, and Babel is attested elsewhere in the country. So, yes, that's one of the perils of guessing place names from modern place names. And moor being wet ground, moor, MOOR, meant up until the end of the 19th century, it meant in the south meant wet ground. So it's the bees' wet ground, probably. Who knows? But the Saxon name for it's dull, pretty dull. But yes, I am following another charter, the charter of Hawling. People will tell you that Hawling is named after, that means holy, and it doesn't. And the reason people say that is it got confused with Hallow in Worcestershire. And even in the medieval period, they were getting it confused. So it means the people that live in the hollow. The Hal is hollow, and Ing is the people that live there. Hawling. There is a nice little hollow there. There's some interesting stuff to do with the village there. There's in fact two villages right next to each other, one that was abandoned and one that shrunk, and which is a very interesting piece of political economic history. But the reason I'm coming here is because of Dark Ages stuff and Roman stuff, obviously. And now, why am I in Sudeley Manor, near to Winchcombe, when I should be in Hawling? And the reason for that is that the estate has been split up in the midst of time, and we can prove that because there's a wood down here named that's within Sudeley now, that is named in the charter, and also the North Mass Portway, the northmost portway, which is up here again in Sudeley parish. So I did check. I was looking at it, going, definitely go some way into Sudeley, but I couldn't get hold of anybody else's perambulation. And Finberg did it, but I can't get a copy of it. But somebody's quoted him as saying it takes up Sudeley and a place called Roll. Sheep, sheep, sheep. What the hell is that? Now I've come here before, one of my earlier videos of Sealt Castle, and what is good there is not just a Roman mosaic in the forecourt. There's also a little museum with a statue of a Roman god, and that Roman god, not just a Roman god, he's half British, half Welsh, half Romano-British, and his name is Apollo Kounamaglos. And what that tells us is that there are local gods, gods of place, gods that were venerated in a place that from prehistory that were recorded by the Romans in inscriptions. Now, they may be talking rubbish in this area with this particular statue, but he is attested, he is on an inscription in Nettleton in Wiltshire, just down the road on the Fossway, where there was an octagonal temple of Apollo, and the name Apollo Kounamaglos comes out. Now what does it mean? Kounamaglos means hound lord, and again you've got that Kuno, which we get in the River Kennet, and also names like Cunobelin and so on. And it seems to be the hound was a noble beast, obviously, to the British, to the Celtic British. But these are forgotten names. They're only in inscriptions. You won't find them in textbooks talking about pagan Britain in the Roman period. They are, you know nothing about them apart from their names and the fact they were inscribed on stone. And so they are special because they give us a sense of place from antiquity. Now, I personally think the statue of Apollo is more Apollo Silvanus, which is a hunter in the woods. Silvanus being wood, because he's carrying a bow and he's got a little skirt on and he's obviously off hunting. But anyway, I've been here before, and you can tell because I'm wearing what year it is, because I'm wearing a face mask. And isn't that ridiculous seen from now, 2020 hindsight? At the time, a lot of us were genuinely scared that loved ones would die. And I'm sure loved ones did die. But looking back on that frenetic period, where everything closed down for really long periods, it's and I'm sure they'll do it again. They'll have to do it again if a nasty disease came along again. But it just looks ridiculous from this very short distance in time. But yeah, I'm back again. So that was probably 2020 or 2021, and I was looking for the Roman villa from which the mosaic and the statue came from, and I showed you it, and we're going back there because I've got more information now. Not a lot, but I have more. This too shall pass, this weather, and in 21 days it will be the winter solstice, which means it starts getting lighter again, and then it will be spring. So there is hope. It hasn't been too bad so far. Oh, touch wood. And I must say, I've come down that hill up there. I've got to say that's going to hurt going back up again. It's quite a pleasant landscape. You can tell it's a posh farm and an estate, because it's very well managed. There's nothing. You don't see very much churned up farm tracks, and you get these gentle glades and rolling views, and you get the impression it's not really there to feed bellies. It's there for other reasons. Anyway, we're going down to the Beesmore now. It's quite wet underfoot. The land's draining